Well, it's one of the most common respiratory viruses in Canada, but you might not know much about it. RSV affects thousands of Canadians every year, especially when we're staying indoors during those cold winter months. So here to take us through everything we need to know about RSV is registered nurse Jake Mossop. Welcome to the show. Welcome
morning.
back. It's always great to see you.
Great to be back.
That's right. So we talk about respiratory illnesses each year, especially during the times when it seems like everyone is getting sick. So what exactly is RSV?
So RSV stands for respiratory syncytial virus. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Yes.
It's a contagious virus that's spread through droplets primarily, and then through contact secondary. And so it's a contagious virus that impacts our lungs and respiratory passages. And unfortunately, the prevalence is higher in the winter, but it is a virus that gets spread year-round. And this virus does lead to hospitalizations and death. And so what we've seen in the data has shown is 1 in 9 adults over the age of 60 who are admitted with RSV die within 30 days, and a greater percentage of older adults, once they're discharged, have a long-term loss to their independence.
So it's important to be aware about this, and education is really important because it is a contagious virus. And according to the Government of Canada, there were more than 42,000 RSV detections in Canada from August of last year to February. So who is most at risk of these complications if they do get it?
Yeah, great question. So this virus impacts everyone, but the two biggest groups we see are young children, infants, and babies, because they're developing their immune system. But even more importantly, older adults. So people who are living with chronic illnesses, so illnesses that impact their heart, their lung, if they have diabetes, or anyone who's immunocompromised or has a weakened immune system is at risk. Adults over the age of 60 and anyone living in long-term care or nursing homes, these are the populations that are going to suffer the most and have increased complications with the increase in age, or like I said, any underlying health conditions.
So people who are young, people who are old, and people who are immunocompromised. So it's important to be careful. So what are some of the symptoms we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, symptoms range from mild to severe, but some of the basic symptoms include having a fever, cough, runny nose. You can also experience headache, tiredness, and wheezing. And so what we see with older adults who have severe symptoms for a prolonged period of time, they're at risk of developing further illnesses like pneumonia or respiratory failure. So what we recommend is anyone over the age of 60, if you're experiencing these flu-like symptoms, that you go seek medical attention or go see your healthcare provider if it's prolonged more than 2 weeks.
So I think the natural next question, preventative measures. What are some of the preventative measures to make sure that we don't get RSV?
Yeah, so there's 5. So the first one is if you're feeling sick, Winston, we know when we have that little tickle in our throat or we have the headache or feeling tired, stay at home. So avoid spreading the virus.
We were so good with that through the pandemic, and now we get a little bit sick and we still go to work, we still go to school, so stay home if you're sick.
Avoid close contact. So if you're someone who falls into those risk groups, then avoid close contact during those high peak prevalence times, like the winter months. And if you're someone who either is at risk or is feeling symptoms, wear a mask, because we want to avoid spreading those droplets. And then, of course, washing your hands is really important. So if they're visibly soiled, soap and running water, or you can use hand sanitizer. And the last thing is that the NACI, which is the National Advisory on Immunizations, has said that vaccination, and we know vaccinations work, there's a vaccine. So anyone who's over the age of 75 is eligible for a vaccination. Anyone who's living in a nursing home or long-term care, like I said. And for those older adults who fit within the range of 60 years to 74 years old, we really recommend that you speak to your healthcare provider in terms of the benefits based on your individual risks.
And on top of all of that, just education, as we mentioned, knowing about it,
knowing
what you can do.
So respiratory syncytial virus. Say that 3 times fast.
I can't. I can't. Well, well, thank you so much for joining us and letting us know more about RSV. Of course, you can follow you online. You're everywhere. You're great on social media.
Thank you. Thanks,
all right.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.